We are continuing our series on who can find a virtuous woman. So, for a brief moment, I'm going to challenge the women out there who are listening to this, watching this live video, to become a virtuous woman. You may not have all the 22 moral excellencies or the virtues that are listed in the book of Proverbs 31, but you can be also improving and adding these virtues concerning a virtuous woman. So let's look at some of these virtues that are listed in the book of Proverbs. We want to make sure that you are implementing and that you are practicing daily these habits so that you can become a virtuous woman. So we're having here 22 of these virtues, and you can apply one per day as you are on your road, your journey to become a virtuous woman. Number one, she is trustworthy. So that should be something that you should be wanting to put into practice if you're not already a trustworthy woman. That is one of the virtues that is listed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 31. She is a woman that can be trusted. She is consistent in her love. Love must be consistent. I believe the book of Corinthians says love never fails, which means it's a consistent love. Love is long-suffering, meaning it doesn't bail out when times of stress and times of disappointment and discouragement come into the relationship. It continues to suffer long, so love must be consistent. Number three, industrious, meaning she is a woman with talent. She is a woman with creative abilities. She's a woman that uses her hands to do certain things to either earn an income or simply just being a creative in the aspect in which God had created this woman to be. So industrious. She's thrifty. In other words, she's a woman that's quick to respond. She's not lackadaisical. She's not sitting around the house just being idle and doing nothing. She's a very thrifty woman. She's a very prompting woman. She's a self-starter. In other words, she can motivate herself. She's able to make herself, inspire herself to do certain things. Again, this is a habit that if you do not have, must be developed in your character for you to become a virtuous woman. She is an entrepreneur. In other words, she understands the business realm. She understands about profiting and making money. Again, every woman is not an entrepreneur. I get it. Every woman is not a businesswoman. But nevertheless, entrepreneurship, in other words, at least you're gaining the knowledge and understanding how money works and how money flows in our economy. She's willing to do hard work. If you're a woman that's not willing to do hard work, it's hard for you to be a virtuous woman. Because a virtuous woman, according to the book of Proverbs 31, is a woman that's willing to do hard work. She's willing to make certain sacrifices for her family, for her husband, in order to get the job done. She's willing to work long hours. In other words, this woman has a strength inside of her, a God-given strength to work long hours for the betterment and the benefit of her husband and her family. She's compassionate. In other words, she's not self-centered. She's not conceited. She's compassionate toward others, especially others who are less fortunate than her. So she's willing to give. She's willing to make sacrifices. She's willing to reach and stretch her arms out to those who are doing not as doing so good in life. So she's a blessed woman. She's prepared for the future. This woman knows how to build a nest. She knows how to have reserves and resources readily available in the time of a need, in the time of an emergency. This woman is willing to do monotonous work. Again, it speaks of this woman not being idle. She's not sitting around the house just eating and on social media and sleeping. No, this woman is actively involved in doing things. Now, and again, if she's a homemaker, and she's unemployed, and the husband is the full-time resources to provide the finances for the family. But this woman, again, she is not idle. She is actually doing things around the house. She's a good seamstress. Again, she's creative with her hands. She has that creative ability given to her from God as a gift to do certain things with her hand, whether she's making clothes or she's making, things that can be sold in the marketplace to produce an income. Again, this is another trait, another quality that needs to be developed in women's lives in order for them to become the virtuous woman. She's married to a leader. This woman understands her place in the marriage. She's alongside her husband. She understands and she respects the office of him being the head of the house. She respects him to being the leader of the family. And she remains in her quote-unquote lane, so to speak. She doesn't try to get ahead of him. She stands beside him. She supports him as a leader. She's not swayed by circumstances. In other words, when the tough time comes, she's not so quick to want to give up. She encourages her husband. She encourages her family. She's not one to quit and to file for divorce at the moment of something tragic enters into the relationship. So she's not swayed by circumstances. She's wise and she's kind. Another habit that needs to be developed in a woman's life for her to become a virtuous woman. She's a wise woman. She's a kind woman. She's duty conscious. She's a woman that looks for things to do. She does not like to be idle. She does not like to waste time. She's duty conscious. She's blessed by her family. You can tell a lot about a woman on how her children treat her. If her children disrespect her, if her children do not appreciate her, young man, if you are involved in that woman's life, most likely that's going to happen to you because the spirit of disrespect has already been installed in the family unit. So her children rise up and call her blessed. She's not satisfied with the mediocre. In other words, she's always pushing her husband, supporting her husband to go higher, to dig deeper, to get more out of life, and to push him to the vision or the goals, the aspirations that the husband may have. She's a woman of God. In other words, she understands that God exists. She realizes God exists. She acknowledges that God exists. She has a fear of God. So she practices her life according to Christian principles written in the Bible. She's praiseworthy. In other words, people in the community, her family, her friends, her co-workers, they praise. She's worthy of praise, and they honor her. They adore her. She's a woman of means. In other words, she has aspirations. She has goals that she wants to achieve in life. She's not simply just doing things just to be doing things. She's a woman of purpose. And finally, she's a woman of great skill and ability. These are 22 habits that I want to challenge you women out there, because as we're having an epidemic in our Black and brown communities, men are not dating anymore. Men are choosing to live a celibate life, and women are confused. Women now are wondering what's absolutely going on. So you have a lot of women who are hostile, they're angry, they're bitter, they're mad. So we need to reconcile us as a community, our Black brothers and our Black sisters, to come again. Because again, marriage is a blessing. It enhances someone's life. So let's develop, ladies, these virtues and get on the path of becoming a virtuous woman.